as we talk, they have engaged 350. Out of 350 junior secondary teachers currently in schools, only 95 are permanent and pensionable. The remaining 256 were engaged on internship.
We have come here to address the following issues. Number one, we are legally here because of the Constitution, which provides for us to be here, because we are picketing and doing a peaceful demonstration, because as the junior school teachers tushapatiwa barua ya kusema kuwa maandamano yetu si halali, na koti ilisema internship ni legal and we are not going back to school. Na sisi tunasema kwamba sisi ile kitu tunaomba tu peke yake ni hiyo PNP, na masomo tunafundisha sisi hatukuyasoma pale university. We are only supposed to teach 2 subjects, na tunafaa tutoke pale primary because that environment is not fit for us.
Ningependa kusema sisi kama walimu wa JS tumedharauliwa sana. Unalipwa 17,000, unafunza masomo mengi, lessons ni 36, vitisho unatishiwa kule shule, ukipita hivi hata una amani, environment ni mbaya, vitabu zinaletwa zifanani na curriculum. Kwa hivyo shida ziko huko Shakahola ni nyingi sana. Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema 17K tawe, internship tawe, mambo ya 36 lessons tawe, mambo ya kudanganywa na serikali kwamba mtakonifamiwa bila kuandikiana chini MOU tunasema tawe. Kwa hivyo sisi hapa tumeomba serikali iangalie mambo yetu, watoto wanaumia kule shuleni, tungeomba kwamba tukonifamiwe hata kesho na tutarudi shuleni. Asante.
You know, I was having some conversation with people who have children in junior secondaries, and it's amazing that, you know, some of these students basically have not been taught from the time these teachers went on strike, and you know, a lot has been lost. And it's a difficult thing being a leader of a country, I can assure you. On one side of the story, people don't want you to collect taxes, but they're on the other side, they're demanding for higher pay. So where are you supposed to get the money to give them higher pay? And taking into consideration that we've come from a devastating COVID period, then we went into a period where we had a lot of, talking about drought, we had a bad situation. But anyway, the demonstrations continue. And you remember the strike called by clinical officers? Well, today it marks the 58th day with no end in sight. And clinical officers union leaders blame the government for what they say is non-commitment towards finding a solution to the strike. The strike has affected health services delivery in level 4 and 3 hospitals, as well as health centers and dispensaries across the entire country. The union leaders meeting in Nyeri yesterday said the services like outpatient and major selective surgeries continue to be affected as they stay away from work. The officers in Nyeri decried tough working conditions and understaffing, asking the government to move in quickly and address their plight.
Ile kazi mtu anafanya peke yake. I'm the CEO, I'm the records, I'm the pharmacist, I'm everything in the dispensary. So please, we urge the government kwa tuanjiri permanent and personable.
So Embu clinic officers have not been paid for the last 2 months, and it's quite unfortunate because even if the county, General Secretary would call off the strike now, in Embu we remain out until we are paid fully.
As the UHC group, the UHC fraternity, we are not working because our contract lapsed on 17th this month, and since we've been on strike, and the faculties or the candidates that were not on strike and their contract have lapsed, we are all out of duties, and we don't know what the government is planning because we have not had any communication if the contracts are being extended or if they are being converted into permanent and pensionable.
But there is money when it is about power and position. There is money when it is about power and position. But if it is about service delivery for poor Kenyan, including even agriculture, where we can see them selling fertilizer that are not fertilizers, that's the painful things that we get. And I must say it, that we clinical officers called for the strike on 25th March. 7 days elapsed. We started our strike on 1st April with 10 demands, and a majority of them have not been met. And therefore, we cannot purport to go back, yet the problem that brought us out has not been addressed. Today, as we speak here, because of priority, you have seen the CS sharing that she is in Geneva, representing or rather leading a delegate there. That's to mean no one has been left in the country to make a decision about the Kenyan in terms of the struggle that they're going on through. So it is about molarity. And I wonder what kind of story will they be sharing when over 2 months, close to 2 months, healthcare workers have been on strike.
You know, one of the people who are really benefiting out of this kind of strikes are private hospitals, because now with you know, the public officers or public clinics off, everybody's going to a private hospital, and guess who you meet at the private hospitals? The same doctors. And so the doctors must be praying that this thing continues for as long as it can, because they are really smiling all the way to the bank. Now, the proposed Finance Bill 2024 continues to elicit mixed reaction from various quarters. Former Borabu legislator Ben Momanyi has urged members of parliament to shoot it down when it gets to the House. Momanyi, who described the proposal as punitive to the ordinary Kenyans, reminded elected leaders championing it to be mindful of the current economy. Furthermore, the legislator urged the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to shun the one man, one vote, 1 shilling agenda.
One man, one vote, one shilling, one man, one vote. Lazima Deputy President ajue ya kwamba hii nchi ni ya Wakenya wote, na yeye ni Deputy President wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Kwanza ako na bahati sana, mimi mwenyewe alinipata bunge, huyu amekuja tu bunge juzi, amekuwa tu na bahati akakuwa Deputy President. Kwa hivyo ajue ya kwamba he is not a Deputy President for central profit, for central only. He is a Deputy President for the Republic of Kenya, and he should behave as such. Awaja is behaving like a headman in the central. Atoke nje atembee na ajue ya kwamba ile magari anatumia hizo mandege anasema alinyimwa juzi, they are being paid for by the taxpayers. Therefore, they should take care of the whole country and not cocoons. Mahali mtu anatoka yeye anataka kila kitu uende hapo. Kwa kusema kweli, hii ni budget yenye inaenda kuumiza Mkenya sana. Kwa hivyo tungesi sana our members of parliament, the day the bill is taken to the House and when the vote is going to be taken, we are asking our members of parliament, hiyo kitu itupiliwe mbali. We are asking our members of parliament, hiyo kitu itupiliwe mbali kwa sababu itaumiza mwananchi wa kawaida sana.
Elsewhere, the University of Nairobi students now want embattled Vice-Chancellor Professor Stephen Kiama not to be sent on leave. The students said the squabbling between the vice president and the Senate was affecting learning at the institution. The embattled VC has vowed not to obey the decision to send him on leave.
The University of Nairobi is the biggest public institution in our country, and we must not sit aside and let it lose its glory. Therefore, pains us that we have all these problems at the institution, but no one really seems to give a voice of reason. We have been told that as the students we don't have any business meddling in administrative or management issues. But our question is, shall we keep quiet and watch as everything fall apart? Shall we keep quiet when we cannot get services that we have paid for? Shall we keep quiet when our students are not being taught because the lecturers are confused as to who is running the school, as to who is giving instructions? As the student representatives, we are saying that we shall not keep quiet. Part of our mandate is that we shall voice the muffled voices of the students.
We are asking the Public Service Commission and the head of Public Service Commission to weigh in on this matter. Reason being, the students are now at unrest. The moment he's asked to go on leave, he sends a memo telling that anyone who partakes in this cake will either be apprehended or suspended from the university. That is why we are working on, some students are working on anonymity.
Well, from all the mavoganyos happening in the world, let's see whether we can get some breath of fresh air. And I hope the president does that, because yesterday he revealed that Kenya had received a 4.3 billion shilling grant from the World Bank to fund the last mile connectivity project. Speaking during an event at State House where the contracts for the program were signed, the president stated that his government would not be required to pay back the money since it was a grant secured from the Bretton Woods institution. Ruto further described the last mile connectivity as a project that is passionate to him, as it was promised to make him Kenyans while on the campaign trails. And the head of state cautioned the contractors of the new project to work fast and ensure the project was completed on time. Ruto revealed the project had benefited 9.6 million households and aimed to reach more by the end of the year.
It's being connected without a payment, and yet we are able to recover all that cost. But let me also thank the development partners for coming in handy to support this cause. Your Excellency, the water Ambassador Henry did not mention is that the 30 million euros coming from the EU is a grant, plus that concession of 60 million euros, which is basically coming from, is it EIB, as a very well concession loan, and 90 million euros coming from the other colleagues. So thank you very much. We really appreciate this development.
Is an immense milestone on Kenya's journey towards achieving universal access to electricity in order to align our infrastructure development with our broader aspiration for a brighter, more prosperous future for the Kenyan people. In the beginning, this vision was not just seen as bold and ambitious. It was also considered to be too audacious to be possible. But it has become possible due to resolute commitment to deliver consistent investment of resources and determination to ensure that every Kenyan household, regardless of location, enjoys reliable and affordable energy. We have achieved steady and impressive progress over the past decade. We have witnessed significant progress in our journey towards universal electrification, raising the national access, as I have said, from 27% in 2013 to 76% now. This means that 9.6 million Kenyan households are now connected to electricity. The Last Mile Connectivity Project has been a transformative initiative whose ambition complements the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. By extending electricity grid to rural and underserved areas, the Last Mile Connectivity Project is not only effectively bridging the development gap between urban and rural communities, but it has also effectively raised the overall rate of national productivity across sectors by facilitating the uptake of efficient technologies.
Well, that's good news, at least for some people like us who are planning to apply for electricity in Murang'a. We did make some application and for a project that is there. And we were given a bill of almost 110,000 shillings. And the electric pole is not even 10 meters from where we are. So I hope that this last mile connectivity is going to benefit people like us. Anyway, Mount Elgon Member of Parliament of Bungoma County Assembly, Fred Chesebe Kapondi, has encouraged the residents of the area to participate in planting of trees as a way that will help prevent soil erosion. He says preventing them from disasters that occur during the rains. Speaking when he visited Chesuio, Mount Elgon constituency, where a family lost 3 children after they were covered with mud following the heavy rainfall that happened in the area, Kapondi said it is the responsibility of every citizen to plant a lot of trees and indicated that he will provide aid of around 20,000 trees to the residents of the area.
So mimi kama mjumbe nimesema sasa going forward, wakati naambia nyinyi panda miti, ninaletea nyinyi miti ya kwenda kupanda. Tufanye utaratibu kuhakikisha ya kwamba sehemu hii ya juu tumepanda nini? Miti. Niko na peana nyinyi miti siku ya leo na tupanda sehemu ya juu hii. Sehemu 3 tugawa hii mara 3. Sio namna hiyo? Tuwe na vijana wakitoka hapa waende wasaidie mimi na kusaidia jamii hapa. Alafu wananchi wengine, kuna cypress hapo, kuna grevillea hapo ya kuni, utaenda na cypress uende upande kwako.
Mvua bado ipo, wala ambao bado wako katika mwinuko, tunaomba tafadhali, kama kuna jamii mahali, tukastiri hao watu kwa muda mfupi, mvua ipungue ndio warudi, kwa sababu mvua hii hata ambayo imenyesha baada ya huo mkasa ilitupatia wasiwasi.
Hizi mamiti ambazo tutazipanda saa hii, kweli mheshimiwa, tusikate.
Tuhakikishe hii mlima tupande nini? Miti. Tupande nini? Miti. Sipo amesema tupanda hata matunda. Ukiangalia hiyo mtaro hiyo vile imetaramuka, tulilima mpaka huko.
Vile chief amesema, security starts with ourselves. Wacha tukue waangalifu, tutaki kupoteza tena maisha.
Wananchi tu waangalifu, tuone mahali tunaweza enda kukaa, hiyo mambo ya mvua iishe, alafu ndio turudi pale. Si ni kweli? Si tunafukuzwa kwa shamba, lakini wewe toka hapo, mvua ikiisha si utarudi.
Well, as we experienced during the rains, the heavy rains, I'm glad that the weather guys have said that the rains are going to subside. But we experienced a lot of rain and we came to the realization that climate change is real. Now, women from Samburu sub-county are among hundreds of beneficiaries of the Fistula Foundation efforts to combat the obstetric fistula disorder. The residents were offered free consultations, screenings and treatment for fistula, a critical health issue that has been proven to affect many women at the grassroots. Safina Ramadan, Bomu's fistula coordinator, noted that one of the major challenges was lack of awareness about the condition among the affected. Additionally, she said that transportation costs posed a significant barrier for women in rural areas seeking treatment. Misunderstandings and lack of support from their husband also contributed to delays in women receiving the necessary help and medical care.
Katika hali hiyo ya kupenya katika vijiji, tumeona ya kwamba akina baba wengi sasa wameanza kuwa na ufahamu wa kwamba kumbe mimi si lazima sana ya kwamba ni mpaka nitoe idhini ndio mke wangu aweze kupata huduma. Kwa hivyo imetusaidia na bado pia tungali tunaendelea. Kwa sababu jambo hili hasa la fistula, kusema ukweli, lilikuwa ni shida kubwa. Kina mama wanajificha, wengine hata ni wazee mpaka wanakufa hivyo na huo ugonjwa, kitu ambacho kinaweza tibiwa, lakini ni kama wanalichukulia sijui ni laana fulani ama ni kurogwa. Sasa walikuwa wakifichwa ndani ya nyumba.
Sema kweli, huku nyanjani changamoto kuu ni habari kufikia yule mama kule nyanjani. Mara ya kwanza ilikuwa vigumu kidogo, kwa sababu walikuwa hawana habari kwamba hata hiyo shida ya fistula yuko nayo. Kwa hivyo ukosefu wa habari mwanzoni ilikuwa pia ni changamoto, lakini kufikia sasa tumeweza kuwafikia nyanjani na idadi inatoka kulingana na elimu inazidi kwenda nyanjani.
Naweza fikia huo wakati wa kujifungua ikawa inatoka ile nyumba badala ya yule mtoto hajatoka natoka tayari ile nyumba, kumbe ni ile njia ilifunguka. Lakini ilikuwa sijui niko na hiyo tabu ya kwamba njia ilifunguka. Nikapata matatizo pia hata kwa nyumba yangu, manake hata bwanangu pia alikuwa anasema labda niko na wanaume wa kando. Lakini saa hii niko sawa, nilitibiwa na nilipona. Wakati mwingine ilikuwa ni kama natengwa, manake hata mimi mwenyewe najitenga kabla sijatengwa. Sijisikii huru nikiwa na wenzangu. Nikawa ninafanya hata Nyunduni dispensary, lakini wakati mwingine ni mtu tu akujifunga kwa miguu yangu hivi ili eti nijibale, lakini ilikuwa sikizuizi. Lakini nilipopata hii elimu ikanitoa hapo mahali niko, hata saa hii hakuna kitu chenye kinatoka.
Kwa tunasikia fistula. Lakini nikiuliza hata mzee nikaenda akamuliza, nimwambia mimi nina fistula. Sasa fistula ni nini? Sasa tukao sote wawili hatuna majibu. Nilipopewa siku ya kwenda kwa matibabu, nikaenda kweli Mombasa. Waliponienda nikapimwa tena sasa. Waliponimpima wakaniambia sasa tutafanya repair. Nikafikiria repair sasa. Basi nilikubali, nikaenda nikafanywa repair. Nikamaliza miezi yangu 6 nikiwa kwanza tu miezi miwili tu nikajipata niko tofauti tayari, nasikia raha, nikiingia mahali kwa wenzangu nasikia hata ni kama nacheza hivi.
Well, I'm glad that they got help. Now, more than 9,000 students in high schools in Sirisia constituency have benefited from the help of tampons from the spouse of the local MP John Waluke. Miss Irene Waluke speaking at the Kikai Girls School in the area during the ceremony to equip the students with the necessary equipment. Waluke mentioned the many challenges the girls are going through and asked more philanthropists to come forward to help them out. She asked the male teachers to understand the girls, especially during menstruation.
This being the month of menstrual hygiene month, that will be observed on 28th of this May 2024. Here in Sirisia, we have 20 schools. Most of them are girls' school and some are mixed. And we are targeting 9,516 students, all in high school. 20 schools, like I said, 20 of them in the entire Sirisia constituency, all from Form 1 to Form 4 girls, totaling to 9,516. By doing this, it will help our girls not to go to those border guys to ask for some money for them to buy pads. And I believe we are restoring their dignity, and also we are empowering them, we are educating them that they don't have to go and ask someone else apart from their parents.
Tumekuja hapa kwa ajili ya Mama Irene ambaye ameona ni vizuri kusaidia watoto wetu kupata sodo, ambayo imekuwa ni changamoto sana hasa kwa wasichana wetu, given that they come from humble backgrounds. Wanahitaji kuwa shuleni ili wakasome wakati ule wa hedhi. Tunashukuru sana mheshimiwa, kupitia kwa Mama Irene tumeweza kupata hizo sodo. Asante sana. Ufadhili huu utapunguza sana kwa sababu wengi wa hao wasichana hujihusisha na mapenzi kule nje, kwa sababu wengi wa wale ambao wanawasaidia ili wapatie zile sodo, lakini wakati ambapo wanapata hizi sodo wako nazo shuleni, sasa watakuwa na haja ya kwenda kuuliza watu wengine wawasaidie. Itapunguza sana.
All right, let's check out what's happening in the newspapers. Now, I saw a story on the Daily Nation that is so interesting. You remember we saw quite a number of people lining up at Nyayo House trying to get passports. And obviously, if you're looking for a passport, the chances are majority of them are going to look for visas and then jet out of the country. Well, we have this gentleman, an African-American gentleman who is in a Mombasa court trying to force the government to recognize him as a Kenyan and also give him citizenship. He says that he's a Kenyan by ancestry. The African-American who is seeking to be recognized as a Kenyan citizen has claimed that he suffered name-calling when he lived in the United States of America. He was being called all kinds of names. While testifying before a Mombasa court, Mr. Mubarak Abdul Maksit Akram said since his childhood and into adulthood while in the United States, he and his family were called colored people, among other derogatory names. Akram wants the court to order state authorities to issue him Kenyan citizenship. And you hear Kenyans saying they are enduring being Kenyan. The Daily Nation, the front page, you have intern teachers basically winning the fight for higher pays. It says 26,000 tutors hired in January last year to teach in public junior secondary schools can now end their ongoing strike and go back to class after the House Education Committee intervened to have the TSC allocate 8.3 billion shillings to convert them to permanent and pensionable terms with a hefty pay rise, allowances, and benefits to boot. And then there's a very interesting story, NCIC, which says that it wants at least 10 counties which were named after ethnic groups to have their names changed if their plans, that is the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, the plans succeed. Some of the counties, you know, it's Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Nandi, Kisii, Turkana, Embu, Samburu, Taita Taveta, West Pokot, and Elgeyo Marakwet, because these counties were basically named after the communities that majorly live within the area. And so by doing that, unfortunately, the communities feel, you know, they own the place. And it was supposed to be an integration, not creating tribal cocoons, if you know what I'm saying. So let me see page what? Page 4. UDA rocked by factional wars as political giants battle it out. There's the election that is currently going on. At the same time, the DP is also under siege, or as one of our Inspector General would say, is under siege. In page 9, Kionjori tells the Deputy President that he's the cause of his own problems. So, and when Kionjori speaks, you better listen from Mount Kenya. Kionjori says that a united mountain must start with mutual respect among all, and he was reacting to remarks made during the DP's 19th May visit to Kirinyaga County, where his entourage castigated him alongside Keharu MP Ndindi Nyoro as among those dividing the region politically. So there's a lot of things that are going on, and there's also a proposal to have people who organize demonstration paying for the damages caused. Meaning if you demonstrate and in the process, if you organize a demonstration and in the process, some of the people throw stones and they damage vehicles, they damage buildings, and they loot, then you're the one who's going to be held liable. You'll be forced to pay for the damages that are being caused. And then the back page of the Nation, high-speed road to raise bus fare costs. High-speed road to raise bus fare cost, transport of goods. Let me read this. Passengers' fares and the cost of transporting goods on the Mombasa-Nairobi highway are likely to increase following a decision by the government to force trucks and buses on the proposed high-speed highway to be built by a consortium of US companies. Oh, okay. So trucks and buses are the ones that are going to use the superhighway. In an investor presentation, the consortium for the Mombasa-Nairobi Expressway, excuse me, disclosed that this is one of the 6 responsibilities of the government in the 477.9 billion public-private partnership deal, the PPP. So they're going to force the trucks and buses onto the expressway as a way of ensuring that the investor is able to recoup his investment. I don't know about you, but I thought the expressway, okay, maybe if the trucks are involved, we might see. But why are we doing an expressway? Isn't it to make the route faster? I mean, the reason why Mombasa Road right now is not as fast, I mean, you can get to Mombasa as fast as you want to, is because of the trucks. So if you take the trucks to the expressway, does it still maintain the expressway tag? Because now you take the problem that people are trying to run away from, and take it to the solution, and you transfer the problem there. Okay, maybe we'll wait and see what their thinking of it was about. The Standard, the big climate ripoff. Kenya and many other African countries rush to lease millions of acres to foreign farms in the name of carbon trading. They not only got a raw deal in the pricing, but also many do not know what sort of deal they were getting into and the repercussions in future, putting a damper on the project. I know there are already people who are reaping from carbon credits in this country, and let's hope it trickles down to benefit everybody on the ground. Then we have cheap electricity connections on the way, the last mile connectivity. The World Bank has given the country a grant, and that grant simply means that the government does not pay back. At least that's what a grant is supposed to be. And then still on the front page of the Standard, you have the battle for Mount Kenya rages as president's men take on Gachagua. It's very unfortunate that this Gachagua Ruto thing has started so early in the first term. I mean, we expected that something like this might happen in the second term, but first term, it has started very early, and this is getting really messy. It might actually affect service delivery to the people because they have things they're supposed to deliver. When they start fighting like this, it doesn't look pretty. And this early, it might actually cost them the 2027 election if they don't get their act together. Now, I can see a gentleman called the chief executive officer of the new chief executive officer of KEMSA, a gentleman called Andrew Mulwa, promising that KEMSA is going to see a brighter day. We're going to experience new things. I hope so. KEMSA has been the hammock of corruption, where people just, you pray and you go to KEMSA and you get a deal of a couple of billions, at least if the evidence that was given during the last corruption saga there was anything to go by. And if you walk outside KEMSA, you never know, you might actually get a deal worth billions of shillings. So if I were you, you should be, operating outside KEMSA. The fourth page has Gachagua's woes as Ruto allies go bare-knuckled, and the names of the people, the pictures of the people who are leading this onslaught. You have Oscar Sudi, the Kapsaret MP, and Oscar Sudi is kind of like a mouthpiece for the president, and this is one man who does not have breaks in his mouth. And then you have Kimani Ngonjiri, the former Bahati MP, is also speaking and tearing into the DP. And then you have Kipchumba Murkomen also going the same way. And page 5, you have ODM basically trying to consolidate the Nyanza bloc as the UDA basically bites the cherry in that place. Now, we're going to go for a short break. And when we come back, we're going to have two gentlemen. We're going to discuss that aspect of youth in politics and governance. And what needs to happen to ensure that when the youth get into politics and government, these spheres, they don't behave the same way the older generation has behaved, because some of the people that right now are causing a lot of problems in this country, actually, people went into politics under the tag young people, and they have learned the bad manners from the older generation. We're going to find out what needs to happen and why it's going like that. Okay, don't go away. Join us in a couple of minutes or so. Plus, I'll try and see whether I can get myself a cup of tea. We have a lady here called Angela Kitondo who does beautiful tea. Beautiful tea. I wish you can taste that. So all that will be coming up in a couple of minutes or so. Don't go away. Basically in the finance space rather, and he's also a political analyst, and Seth was enjoying him, telling him he's like a Dindi Nyoro, in finance and at the same time in politics. Now, gentlemen, let me ask you, for as long as I can remember, we were being told the time for the youth will come.
Yes.
And it has kept on going like that. And incidentally, we've had young people get into government. But I must say they are the most bad-mannered people probably I've ever come across. If I can name, I won't mention names, but you can pick some of them like this. They just learned and became wrong. So, why do young people want leadership? Is it you want leadership for the sake of leadership because you're young, or what? Seth, you
Yes.
contested some time back.
Yes. Okay. Now, for young people to get into leadership, it means there is something that they have spotted that they would have liked to change. But then there are some of them who are interested in these leadership positions for their own selfish interest, not for the interest of the electorates. And that is why you find out that most young people say that when you want to get rich, just be in a political space and you will automatically become rich. What happens? They get there and start looting anything and everything that comes across.
Doesn't that give then the nation a reason to keep you off from that? Because if you get in there, give me one leader, youthful leader, who's gotten into politics today and is making a very positive impact. Just one.
We have someone like Peter Salasia of
the guy who's Getai, let me ask you, Salasia is good-mannered?
According to Salasia, is a very good guy. He's barely 2 years into office, and the things he has done, some of the leaders take 5 years, 10 years, they have not reached where he's reaching. And Salasia has ambitions and goals.
This is the same guy who's been going around slapping people.
That was one incident.
Yes.
One incident cannot shape the way cannot shape governance. Some leaders do worse things than Salasia did. Salasia did out of outrage and out of Salasia, what he did was not right. I condemn him.
Yes.
But being a leader does not mean when you do a mistake that should shape your whole political career. Yes.
So you believe that young people can make an impact in the country. Why are young people learning the behaviors of their political fathers?
Because this has been passed down. I think it's a generational, has been passed down from generation to generation. That means when you're coming into government and coming into leadership, you have the mentality where our leaders, the previous regime of the previous regimes that have served us, you have that leadership mentality. You know when you're coming into government, some young leaders come with the right mind but get corrupted. they see that there are a lot of bureaucracies and meritocracies when you're getting into government. That changes their mindset. And maybe a leader came to work, but after 2 years, 3 years down the line, he's nowhere to be seen. Why? Because they cause something called meritocracy.
When you talk about meritocracy, so define it, break it down so that we see this is what is changing the people. A person who, when they were campaigning, they presented themselves as very principled people, and they were the change we were looking for. But when they get there, they actually become the problem we were seeking to remove.
Okay. This meritocracy, I'll define it, because meritocracy is basically means you get corrupted. That means that some of the leaders came with the right mentality because of many, let me call them, many obstacles in government, finding that maybe he came with the right to change mentality, came with the, like for example, like the ministries were waiting to be, as of last week,
yes,
ministers did not have finances. Why? Because the government does not consider. Maybe the leader wants to change his constituency or her ward or his ward, but because of lack of finances and a lot of bottlenecks, let me call them bottlenecks, find it very hard, very difficult to serve your people. Your people will complain. Your people your people will turn on you, but not because you are a bad person, because you came into a government that does not think of you as a leader.
You vied in the last election. You wanted to become the MCA for this region, I believe.
Yes.
Where we are.
Yes.
What was your experience, and mostly so with the young people?
Okay. The one thing that remains, that stands out, is that young people believe that when someone is running for a political position, that person must be very rich, and they will elect people based on what they have in their pockets. And that's why you find out that most of the time when people gain political positions, these seats, they actually become corrupt. Why? There are people in society that you will never see them in political space, but they fund politicians. Once they realize...
Did you experience some of this?
Yes.
People who are coming to fund you so that when you become an MCA, you can be able to give them favors?
Yes, I was approached by several people. They come and tell you, we give you this, after you get this seat, you give us this. So that is why some of these young people are coming with a good spirit, with the interest of the electorates at heart. But once they get there, they change, they abruptly change, and they leave us wondering what's happening. Do you know what's happening? Because these people fund you with conditions. And once you gain this seat, what happens is that you have to refund them heavily. That's why some of these leaders, once they assume these positions, they become corrupt because they had already used what they could have used in development in refunding back those who funded their political bid into those seats. Yeah, and this is a mentality that should change. But
do you see it changing soon? Do you see that mindset changing soon?
In this, I'll not lie. In this day and age, it's a mentality that has been built, has been inbuilt.
Yes.
Everyone and even the young child who is out there knows that leadership, there's corruption and a lot of things there's a lot of bargaining things that are out there. So I think this is a mentality that should be changing, maybe the next generation that come, because this generation probably changing it will be hard. Yes.
Okay. This can change because there is nothing that is impossible.
True.
One way that this can change first is to change the mentality of young people through ruthless awareness. So that
what do you mean ruthless awareness?
Yes, it should be a campaign in social media, in the papers, in the TV stations, the radio,
telling
whatever.
them what?
Yes, we tell them that they should elect their leaders wisely based on the agendas that they have for the electorates and not based on who has what
Do you really think that the young people do not know that?
Okay, they might know. They might know.
So what messaging is
Yes.
going to come?
Yes.
What kind of messaging, the ruthless messaging you're talking about, that is
Yes.
going to come, that is going to change people who already know that what we are doing is wrong and is messing up our leadership? How is that going to change?
You know, sometimes if something is going on and you might know, and then you don't take it serious until it becomes the talk of the day, where it is being spoken in every corner you get. You go to the newspaper, you find the same. You go to the TV,
Trust you me,
you get the same.
Trust you me. That has been the conversation on TVs, in radio, in newspapers. Getahi,
Yes.
how do you change that mentality? Because what he's saying, that these are things that have been done. And people, they know. They know that if I get a leader, if I'm paid by a leader 500 shillings or whatever it is, and I vote in that leader, then the first thing he's going to do is recoup whatever he spent.
You're right.
And I won't get anything in return.
You're right, because first of all, that's an investment. He's making an investment. When he gets into power, he wants to make the return, because let me call it a business. To lack of a better word, let me call it a business. When he's getting into power, he has already maybe spent tens of millions. As for maybe an MP who wants to be elected.
Yes.
So when he gets to power, he wants to concentrate on himself, so that not serving his people will not be a primary agenda. That comes maybe after he's already recouped his investment. Now he wants to make a name for himself out there. So that comes, I think you have seen most of the times, those MPs that go incognito coming barely 2 years to the next election. Why?
Yes. Yeah.
Because they want to change their mindset. They think that Kenyans are stupid. Let me use that word, sorry. They think that Kenyans are coming in at the last time so that they can do a few projects, so that they make sure we see they have done a program, so that their red card have done this and this to be chosen. Because if they lose that seat, you see them, some of them are suffering. I don't know.
Yes.
I think this will rub the wrong people the wrong way. But some of them suffering. That's why I think they try to get that seat at all means necessary, so that they recoup the investment. It's a business. It's a business.
It's also politics is a business.
Politics is a business.
And you know, for the young people who are we believe that the young people should be the ones to come in with the change, because the old generation, you can hardly teach an old dog new tricks. So we expect that the puppies are going to have learned new tricks. But if you go to university election,
yes.
if you go to that, it's even worse than the national politics.
Yes.
You've experienced that.
I have.
That's where you're supposed to come in and tell us, this is what happened.
Okay. Godfrey Gitai here is, we are in the same university.
Yes.
He knows very well that I was running for president in Masai Mara University.
Yes.
And he was actually my delegate.
He was your delegate?
Yes. But what happens there? We have what we call business community. The students who maybe had graduated long time ago.
Yes.
But now they come in, fund university politics, and then they retain those businesses. So
hold on. They have businesses that are operating within the university.
Yes, that are operating within the university.
Businesses like what?
They have shops. They just shops. What do we call cybers and all sorts of businesses.
Yes.
Those are tenders.
Yes.
So you find out that these people come to fund who becomes a leader.
Yeah.
Because and in most cases, for universities that are using delegate system,
yes,
they push people who are weak that can be manipulated easily. You see?
So yes,
Sam has reminded me something. Our elections were a couple of years back. We have not had our university elections in a long time because of some of the things. Because the last elections our university had, we had to go on a strike.
The last. Why is this? And it feels like deja vu. I mean, what has been happening in the country is happening in the universities.
Yes.
You had an election and then you went on strike.
The election was about 2 months ago. I'm speaking of March. March, yes, of February. Those business community individuals, and they know themselves, are like diseases root planted in our university's ecosystem. So when things do not go their way, they try to, by all means necessary, things to be done their way. Like
how powerful are they in terms of the economic muscle? Because you're talking about cyber, you're talking about shops, and in my mind I'm seeing a kiosk, I'm seeing us, and I'm thinking, are these powerful enough to be able to influence an entire university election?
Not only a university, but also the administration. Using, do not look at it as a general shop out here.
Yes.
Those shops serve comrades. Looking at a population of maybe in a university 10,000 comrades.
16.
Or 16 now. So looking at that, they have the financial muscle being backed by our national leaders, of course, national leaders, because they cannot do it on their own terms. So when those two things are combined, the forces are combined, we bring havoc. That's why in our university, as a university student, and also who I've also vied for a seat, and I've seen the behind the scenes. I know things are dirty out here. I'm speaking from experience.
So there's a lot of money, and there's a lot of money. What about political powers? Because I'm trying to understand where the young people, because most of the young people, apart from Salasia, who you said, most of these guys come from the universities, right?
Yes.
I mean, they start their leadership within the universities and they graduate to national levels. So now you've talked about the business community, which is literally shocking.
Yes.
So they sponsor weak students who can be manipulated to become the leaders.
Yes, that is what happens, because the last time when we were approaching this election, I've been coming to TV stations, I've been going to where they see. One point we took a case to the High Court against President William Ruto. And now
he was also interfering with your elections.
No. He was not. I'm coming there.
Okay.
How this came to interfere with the elections at the university.
Okay.
Now, these people were watching me, and they came and sat down, and then they said, someone like Seth Odoyo, who fights the president of the country, cannot be fronted as the president because our businesses will be at risk. He is a friend to the administration, and that is our first enemy. That
the university administration.
Yes, I was accused of being a friend to the university administration.
Yes.
That their businesses will be in chaos once I assume the leadership position. So what they do is that they have influence because they are known all over the university by students. And being that we use delegate system, they will be spreading this news and talking ill about you so that other students can see you in another perspective.
Let me ask you, you know, and this, when you say that, the question that I ask in my mind, are university students that gullible?
Yes.
Are you guys that gullible that this business community will come and say everything, and you sticking around one another, you probably understand one another? Are university students that gullible that you buy this hook, bait and sinker?
Yes, to a point yes, and to a point no. The point yes is that you see, every year we have an intake of university students.
Yeah.
They target that specific audience. Because that specific audience, especially, they have not been exposed to maybe the campus politics.
But that's a very small group. If I'm thinking, they are first years, you have second years, third years, and fourth years who've been there before.
That's why I say there's a point yes and no.
Okay.
And they target them and the small groups that, and using hooligans and a lot of money. You know, campus students, majority, and maybe I'll not, people will not take me the wrong way.
They will forgive you.
They will forgive me. Are hungry.
Yes.
That's why the term Kuinama came to be. Because when you give a comrade 500 shillings, that means you have sorted a comrade for a week or so. That means you have corrupted a comrade's mind. Especially to maybe a comrade who has not been exposed, that he sees as money or influence. When you have the influence and you have money, you're the right person into office.
But if you give me money, what? I mean, it's secret ballot, isn't it? You will not know whether I voted for you or not.
That's why I said they use hooligans. In our campus elections, in our election day, we have the Mlolongo system, the queuing system, where when you come out, they ask for a photograph. If you know in one way or another, you have taken their money, they'll ask you to take a photograph of your ballot paper.
And show them.
And show them.
That's a cartel. So that's where people are learning bad manners.
Yes, exactly.
How are the political parties coming in? Are political parties involved? And now I'm focusing mostly so on the universities. Because I remember during times of Babu Owino, who was, you know, the basically headed the UON for a very long time, the Students' Union, so many years. He obviously had a political backing. How are the political parties playing their politics within the universities?
Okay, this is what happens. In university, there are diverse communities. We have the Luo, the Kisi, the Gikuyus, the Kalenjins, and all communities. These communities, they form what we call coalitions. Yes.
They form coalitions within the university.
Yes, they form coalitions within the university.
Yes.
So you find that...
This is during the elections.
Yes. We have the Luo, the Kisi, the Kalenjin, and you find the Maasai, the Gikuyus, and other communities on one side. So from these coalitions, for the universities that are using delegate system, they are going to select within their members, those who they are going to front as delegates to contest those who are coming from the other political divide within the university. And then they vote these people in, and now it is the delegates from both sides. And that means a presidential candidate who is going to take power as the school president is determined after the election of these delegates, because the coalition that has the highest number of delegates wins.
Automatically decides who's going to be the president.
Yes, but even before that, these delegates still go to the ballot to elect now what we call the SGCs.
SGCs, Student Governing Council.
Okay. Yeah, the Student Governing Council. And they are always between 7 to 10 in some universities. So it is these people who again come to the ballot and select who becomes the president, the secretary general, the secretary academics, and so on.
That's it. You know, when you explain that system, that explains a lot. You guys are more rogue. you're more rogue. You get concerned then. When we are talking about youth in politics and governance, the systems that you've been made to pass through already mess you up mentally in terms of leadership.
You're right, very right, very right. When you're coming out of campus and you're experiencing campus politics firsthand, you have already studied, you already know the mastery art of dirty campus politics. No, dirty campus politics is not a bit far off from the national politics. That's why you see university students, there may be someone who has experienced or tasted the university's seat wants to go after the national politics. Because maybe you have served your congregation of maybe 10,000. Now you want to go and serve a constituency that has maybe hundreds of thousands of residents. Now, that means that you're coming up with the mentality that was already implanted, that already politics is not a fair game. It's not a game for the faint-hearted.
Yes.
Already politics wants you to be hardcore. I call it all gloves are off. That's
bare knuckle.
It's bare knuckle. That's why you come out with the mentality that maybe our university politics were tribal based, because that's the method you use in your university. When you're already
within the university, it's tribal based.
After the university politics, after the university elections, all things go back to normal. But when the elections are close, that's where you see tribes coming together, so that they can bridge the barrier. So if you are vying on a
I hope guys from the NCIC are listening to this, because this is where you need to go and start that civic education, because this is where tribal politics come from.
I remember in the last elections, we were divided. Like, I'm from the Mount Kenya community. We were divided. The Mount Kenya community supports this so and so candidate. I'll not mention names. The Luo community supports this so and so candidate. So that we had a lot of bureaucracy, and I'll use that word again. A lot of bureaucracy, because it becomes a politics of self-interest, a tribal politics. Something that will be shifting our minds from. But still implanted in universities is tribal politics. This is, I think, is a bitter pill to swallow. Still in all the universities, because I've not interacted in all university politics, all the universities tribal based. I think this thing should be scrapped off. We should go back to, we should have instead of the delegation system, we should have the Mlolongo system, where you vote for your individual partner. Because in our delegation system...
Because currently you vote for the delegates, and it's the delegates who decide who is going to ascend. Kind of like the US system?
Yes, a couple of years back in our university, we have 45 delegates. So if the election goes 50-50, you do a rerun. So there is one man, I'll not mention name, he spoiled the vote. So
he spoiled the vote.
He spoiled the vote. So we had to go to a rerun because of one vote that was spoiled. It was not 23-22, it became 22-22. So we had to go a rerun. So going back, I think we should introduce a bill into Parliament. We scrap off the delegation system. We elect our leaders individually, because this will minimize
popular vote.
Popular vote is a strong word. Popular vote.
Yes.
Popular vote will ensure that if you come in, if you want to put yourself into office with the mentality that you think you are coming to help the business community, you become a puppet. That will ensure that we hear the views of the right partner X or partner Y, so that we can see who will we give our votes to. Then the delegation system, who are paid handsomely to go and elect. And if you do not heed to the election calls, you better run away, because they will find you.
The delegates, you're saying the delegates are paid?
Delegates are paid handsomely, and they are called into the middle of the night to have meetings.
They're paid by... who pays them? The business community?
The business community, because they are the ones who fund the elections.
When you talk about handsomely, like how much are you talking about?
Okay.
Okay. Now you see, we are talking about.
Hold on. Like how much are you talking about?
It depends on the agreement between the delegate and the people who are funding.
From your experience, like how much were guys paid?
Someone was paid up to 10,000.
10,000 shillings is not handsome.
Sometimes it is even past that. The one guy I know was paid 10,000, but it could go all the way to 50,000 because, you know, these people, let us say that elections have gone 50-50. You find out that these people are trying to check from the other side which delegate they can bring on this side, so that they could have the highest number. That is going to give them the opportunity to gain back their tenders. So they are ready to lose anything and everything within their limit to ensure that the funds they used during the campaign period,
they recoup.
Yes, they recoup it.
So how do we change?
Yes,
because now I even start having doubts.
Yes.
How do we change the system so that young people coming in, number one, understand what leadership is?
Yes.
And they understand what good governance is. Because I think the political system, the business community, and you know, the entire university system is not producing what we want. And no wonder we have some of the brightest people. I mean, the current parliament has got, I mean, the best brains. But when it comes to leadership and governance, it kind of mirrors what you guys are talking about. So what do we need to do to change?
Okay.
You go.
Okay.
And then Seth will come in.
I think because we have similar opinions, that's why we are battling with Seth, who will go first. But this will stem back. I say this has already implanted even to the young children. That's why I said that when I was starting, to the young children, we have physical education on the importance of good governance.
So we start teaching them from the time they're in, you know, the lower classes.
Yes, from the time they understand who a leader is, so that we can reduce this, and we can push away this time, because right now we are unteachable as a because we have seen firsthand.
You can't teach all
dog new tricks.
Yes,
and this is worse for our forefathers, because them already things was implanted already in their brain. In their mind.
The likes of Orengo came from your end.
Yes.
You know, and the politics, the national politics was actually being played in the university.
Yes, at that time, where the national politics, when you want a seat, you had to influence the student leaders so that you can get the coveted seat, because it's a very coveted seat. We have to take away the mentality that national politics is all dirty games. We have good governance, because good governance promotes healthy living. Healthy living promotes economical development and economical growth. This will come about when the younger generation, the generation that is coming after us, because already as teaching us, already our time has already passed. Already we are not teachers.
You cannot be trained.
You cannot be trained already.
You've already eaten the fruit.
Yes, I can call it. I've already taken the fruit, because when you get into campus, like I got into campus at the time, I did not understand much of campus politics. But after my first semester is when we held the elections. I can tell you this for free. I do not want to be associated with any campus seat, because they're using you as a puppet. I remember, because as in our time when we got into campus, you were taken the first day, because you know these guys do not know a lot. These guys are just new into campus. These guys are fresh. They call us fresh bait. These guys, you can use them so that we can push for agendas. And at a later stage, I came to understand that campus politics are selfish politics, and they mirror national politics. And if you want to stem this issue, we have to dive deep and go to our roots, to the generation that is coming to us, and so that we can get rid of such meager issues that are causing this country not to grow at the development rate, not to have the GDP rate that this country should be enjoying.
And let me ask you, and this just Christian universities.
Yes.
Because I know that, you know, probably you've interacted.
Yes.
You know, the Christian universities in the country, do they also go through the same thing?
Okay, there are some universities. Okay, universities use various ways of elections. Some of them we have the delegate system like ours. Another one, they have online voting system, and in another university it is through the popular votes. So it varies from one university to the other.
So all is not lost.
Yeah, all is not lost.
Yeah.
And for us to do away with this issue of weak university students being pushed by those who call themselves cartels, I think we should either adopt the online voting system or we go back to the popular voting system, because this is going to create problems in our country. Because once you've left out someone who has fresh ideas, you've denied that person a leadership position. One thing that will happen, some of them will never be seen anywhere close to political seat, either national or whether national or university politics. And this is someone who maybe could have changed the country in the coming years. But just because somebody came in the name of cartel and interfered with everything in the early stage, these people are not found anywhere. And once the people they push are gone, they are also not heard anywhere.
So what about, don't we have mentorship programs where probably universities basically partner with some of the best leaders that we have in the country, so that, you know, guys can learn the best practices in leadership, in governance? Maybe.
Yes, mentorship is there, but finding the right mentorship is what we are struggling with, because finding the right people to coach us becomes at times tedious, because because us as university students try so much as to mirror our university politics to the national politics, but finding the right people to guide us becomes difficult. That's why and we do not try. Some of us do not try to look at opportunities to interact with other leaders positively. Some have the begging mentality. We are
the university.
University, we are after this, so this and this, and so give us this. They do not look at ideas, to share political ideas with the leadership that is in national politics and in parliament making legislations. So, but if we have the right mentorship, looking for the right leaders who have already revolutionized the country's ecosystem, we are on the right path. As Seth was saying, all is not lost. All is not lost. I had said that we are past we are past being changed, but all is not lost. Looking for the right political guidance and the right political mentorship will go a long way to ensuring that we enjoy campus politics, and in turn, after graduation, some go become better leaders who have better ideas. Because right here, outside here, we have people who are very talented, but they have never, who had been in campus, they've never gotten an opportunity, or because of many reasons, to go into national politics. Those people can change a lot of things out here.
Because I'm looking at, you know, and mostly so the corporate world, because governance is so important. If we're going to get things right, governance is so important, and a lot of it is affected by politics, because politics, people come up with policies that are affecting people.
Yes.
We have captains of industries,
yes,
who, you know, have cut out, you can say these are good leaders, they've learned how to govern the institution very effectively. It's unfortunate that as a country we are allowing some of these leaders to grow old and die off without passing some of these lessons that they've learned to the younger generation. Your last thoughts,
yes,
as we bring the curtains down on this show. How do we merge the corporate world and you young people so that you can learn some of the good practices can be rubbed onto you?
I think just as we said before, there needs to be a system where the learning institutions are creating that chance and sessions to invite those people who have shown exemplary leadership qualities to the campus or whatever the learning institution, because
that is not happening now, is it?
It rarely happens. It happens, but rarely happens. So this is what needs to be done, because leadership is not just about politics alone.
Yes.
And that is why when you look at our country today, look at the judiciary, look at the legislature, it is the kind of leaders, some of them that we push there with the love of money and all that, where we find out that the judiciary and the legislature have grown into very nice, healthy, and I mean, they are very, very nice and healthy ground for corruption and all that sort. In short, they are healthy and very big, toothless bulldogs. Yes. Yeah. So you find out that it is people who are from these institutions that are going, they are the same people who are who will be tomorrow in legislature, in judiciary, in executive, and all around. So when we start coaching these people from somewhere like the learning institution, that I think by the time they get to these places, their minds would have changed for the betterment of this country and Africa at large.
Okay, your last comment.
Seth speaks with a lot of zeal, because he's so passionate about young leadership in this country, and so passionate about making revolutionizing leadership in this country. For my last thought, if we have, I think you see some of the best performing corporates out here have envisioned and have used some of the skills that some of our national leaders lack to run a corporation. Some of the corporations out here are running and making billions of shillings in turnover. So what they implement is the right guardians, mentorship, and they are mentoring the people who are coming after them, because as young people, if we have the right mentorship in the national politics, because we are the people who are coming after them. 10 years, 5 years from now, if you have a right mentor, it means that you, when you're going into national politics, already you have your stepping stone. Because why do you think some of the national leaders, because some of the campus students who enter national politics are just going to it blindly, because they do not have the stepping stone. They're not shown the guidance. This is how things are run. If you want things to be done right in this country, you have, if you want to pass legislation, or you want to develop your, maybe you want to develop your constituency, or you want to build on what was left maybe by the previous regime, you should be doing this. You should have the right mentorship, the right leadership skills, because also that plays a part. You may have the right mentorship, but you lack leadership skills.
Yeah.
Yes, and the passion.
But all this, as I bring the curtains down, all this can be trained, right?
Yes,
people can be trained, leadership and all that. So, this is an open ground. This is a place where corporates should come in and help. I mean, if you listen to what is happening within the universities, the politics that are taking place there, no wonder we are getting what we are getting nationally, because they've been trained bad manners from down there. And probably it's a high time that the administration themselves can find a way of getting rid of these businessmen who are finding these politics, and so that we can have a system that is going to produce and develop good leaders who can now, after universities, ascend to national politics, and we can completely transform our country. Great conversation, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. We'll do this all over again. I can assure you that has been a very rich conversation and very enlightening. So do have yourself a lovely day. Remember, in a couple of hours or so, actually from 9, we'll have Your Faith Today. Some inspiring messages coming in on how you can build your faith, and some interesting stories and testimonies and great singing. So don't miss that. Do have yourself a lovely morning.